So you hear a knock on the door, you land down, it's me. You open the door and I'm like, you're a piece of shit. And then I just fucking leave. You close the door and you go back about your business. The next day, same time, knock a door. You open it, it's me, and I'm like, you're a piece of shit. Close the door. By the third day, you're probably not going to answer the door to me. True masculinity isn't about being strong, it's about being unbreakable. Strength is physical, whereas being unbreakable is physical and mental. So most men think that they have to dominate, but that's incorrect. You have to endure, adapt, build endurance, build self-respect and self-discovery, like learn about yourself, learn about what you're good at, what you can do. That way you become unbreakable. And every time something happens, yes, it might knock you down, but it doesn't break you. It knocks you down, you analyze it, you rebuild, and you move forward again. So we're going to go into a few different points here. One of the things that comes from Joe Dispenza's training is that neuroplasticity and resilience. So your brain is rewiring all the time. So you're better to try to rewire it for something like unshakable confidence rather than anxiety, depression, and fear. Most people think that, I've talked about this before, I hate the saying, I've always been like that. Most people think I am the way I am and that's just who I am. I nearly turned into Popeye there. I am who I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Science proves that your brain is not fixed. It's plastic. So even when I learned hypnosis, like the Anthony Jacquin's book was Reality is Plastic. Like the name alone just implied that we're going to go out and play. Like everything that you see, everything that you do is plastic. You can move around and change it and create new ideas. So I'll go into that a little bit deeper in a different podcast, but for now we'll stick with this. Most men stay stuck in their cycle of self-doubt and failure. They've made some mistakes, they overthink them and reinforce them, and then that creates your neural pathway. You just reinforce the neural pathways that you're creating by just going over and over and over. So resilience isn't just about an attitude, it's an actual neurological process. Once you lock into that, everything can change. You can change everything about what you do. I remember working with a kid years ago that had dyspraxia, and he was at the martial art club, and his parents were like, I just throw him in the corner, he'll be grand, he can't do any of the moves. And to be fair, he stood up, and when he bowed he would like fall forward. And I worked with him for about 6 months, and he was able to pass his first grade, which should have took about 6 weeks, but it took about 6 months. And then the next grade, which should take another 6 weeks, but the first one took 6, took him about 3 months. And then he just started to get better faster because he was being told by his parents and by other clubs that he went to that he had no coordination, he had no way of understanding how to move and how to realize when he's losing his balance and all sorts of stuff. But because I didn't pander to his needs, because I refused to believe that, I was like, you can fucking walk in this door. If you can walk, you can do this form. He actually got the form and got his grades. So you can override anything that you think. I'm not saying it fixed him in all areas of his life. Like we're not trying to fix each other. I'm saying this because I just know I'm going to get a message about this. It's not about fixing anything. There's nothing wrong with any of us. What we're trying to do is to fix our thinking. So I will fucking take that back. There is something we're trying to fix. We're trying to fix our thinking. So if you fix your thinking, that is not easy to say. Fix your thinking, then you're going to be, again, more self-aware because you're having to pull yourself on the shit that you're talking to yourself. Like an example I used to use when I coached years ago was, imagine if I knocked on your front door every day. So you hear a knock on the door, you land down, it's me. You open the door and I'm like, you're a piece of shit. And then I just fucking leave. You close the door and you go back about your business. The next day, same time, knock a door. You open it, it's me, and I'm like, you're a piece of shit. Close the door. By the third day, you're probably not going to answer the door to me. You're going to be sick of hearing me say you're a piece of shit. Which that's once a day at the exact same time. So even if you were willing to listen to me, you could prepare for that. So imagine how many times a day do you talk down to yourself, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I'm bad at this, or I'm a piece of shit, or fucking whatever. You look at things you did in the past and you give yourself shit for them now. The one a day me showing up is bad, but how often you're doing it in your head, you're programming yourself all the time to just live those cycles. So we want to change this, and the statement that I've wrote here, this was in the hypnotherapy world and the street hypnosis world as well. What fires together wires together. If you're constantly react to failure and frustration when you train your brain to see failure as painful, but if you train yourself to see failure as fuel, you become unstoppable. So that's what I've done with everything that I've ever learned. I would go in, I would spar, I'd make a mistake, and I go, why do I keep getting punched in the head? It's because when I throw a jab, I drop my shoulder instead of lift it, and when I roll. So I'm not looking at it and going, I'm shit at that. I'm looking at it and going, right, I didn't do great at that. What could I do different? So once you lock in that you can retrain your brain to actually fire for the positive, for confidence, for success, then really you do become unstoppable, because anything is possible. Second thing I want to talk about is standing alone, the power of being solid in your convictions. Being comfortable by yourself, both like physically, like I'm by myself in this room, and if I turn all this off, I'm still by myself, but I'm very comfortable. Go to the forest by myself, comfortable, is really important. Being comfortable by yourself. So when I grew up, all the guys I hung about with drank, took drugs, smoked, partied, and I never did any of that. I never tried any of it. All I wanted to do was become Jackie Chan. I wanted to become the best martial artist I possibly could be. Standing alone there, that's true power. That's where you learn to adapt and you learn your strengths. So this is so important. Do not seek validation externally, seek it internally. Like an example a lot of people will follow. Imagine you were the only Manchester United fan in a bar that supported Manchester City, and the both of them are playing against each other. You could cow down and leave, or you could just stay there and enjoy the match and just enjoy your support of the team. I've seen it in bars loads of times where people would come in, they'd be wearing the wrong jersey or supporting the wrong team, and they would just leave. You'd be thinking, you're trying to fit in, you're going to try to find your place where you fit in. You can just sit here, enjoy it, and stand alone in your own support of your own football team. I know nothing about football except names of the odd team, but I think the analogy is still solid. So whenever you're comfortable standing alone, then nobody can really shoot you down. They're your core beliefs, they're your morals, they're the way you want to live your life, and that's what should be important, not how other people want you to live your life. So a few things that I've wrote here is, whenever you need other people's approval, you're controlled by their opinions. Again, if you're controlled by their opinions, then at any moment your happy, fun day could turn into a shit day because of the opinion of someone else. Your society will teach us to be agreeable, but great men lead. And great men lead by being comfortable standing alone, even when your opinion's unpopular, even when you're told you're wrong. If you are comfortable in yourself and you're strong in your conviction, then it doesn't matter. The right people will resonate with that and gravitate towards you, and the wrong ones will go away. Either way, you know that you're living to your potential, you're living to your morals, your goals, your standard, and your standard is way more important than mine, and mine for myself is way more important than yours for me. So a few things, how do you build this mindset of an unshakable man? Write your core principles, so actually knowing what they are. So what do you stand for no matter what? So what is your non-negotiables? Who are you? Some people, if I ask them, and you can ask your friends, ask yourself, probably don't really know. I suppose truth, justice, and the American way. That's Superman. You can be Superman if you want. But knowing what you stand for is such an easy starting point. Then it means you can make decisions that are based on some sort of foundation rather than just guesswork. Practice solitude. Sometimes you'll get told off for how much solitude you practice, but I think there's two different types. So you're practicing just making decisions without asking other people's opinion. Like, I think I'm going to become a podcaster. I don't need to go to 40 different people and find out. I just go, start, do. And then if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. It doesn't matter. If I asked you, should I be a podcaster? I have to ask you about every episode. I have to ask you about every opinion. I have to ask you about everything. So be comfortable by yourself, both physically, emotionally, and morally. And then finally, say no with confidence. So stop compromising. The amount of times, especially as a single 40-year-old, I'm told that I should compromise on things is just mad to me. So just don't. If your gut doesn't tell you want to be there, then don't be there. Just don't compromise with stuff. And the final thing that I want to talk about is the Shaolin philosophy of endurance. The role of suffering in transformation. A lot of the time we look at suffering as like, why me? Woe is me, poor me, I shouldn't be suffering. You're going to suffer. Life is going to throw shit at you that is hard, and it's going to cause you in some manner to suffer. So whenever I trained Shaolin Kung Fu, you undergo brutal physical, mental training because you understand that suffering creates strength. So that is controlled suffering, like cold shower therapy, all that sort of stuff. It's controlled suffering. We are putting ourselves through a hard workout, a hard sparring session. So when life hits you, puts you down, you have strength. You've had. It's not obviously going to be the same, but you have some sort of foundation to work off of. So you'll notice a trend in all these podcasts. We're just trying to learn a foundation of strength that then we can build the rest of our life around. So do hard things on purpose. So a lot of people do cold therapy. They do a cold shower. Ask yourself when you're doing that, are you doing the cold shower because every time you do it, you feel like you've grown as a person, you have developed resilience physically and mentally, or are you doing it because it's just what people do? So maybe the cold shower, like I did the Wim Hof when it first came out, the first 10-week program he did, and I did all of it, and the only reason I did it was because I'm someone that generally does whatever I say I'm going to do. But I did not like it. The cold shower was just not for me. And the more research came out, the more it proved that it's not, like, your body's reacting to going from survival to safety, not like you can get a lot of the same benefits from just doing warm, focused showering, which is much more pleasant. So I don't like it, but if you like it, do it. Do it and ask yourself, what am I actually getting out of this? Am I just doing a cold bath for the sake of it? Or am I getting something from this? I find it so weird, and I've done a few different talks with different people, and part of their talk, you get to do a cold dip, and you've never done a cold dip before, and it's just normalized. And part of my talks and my setups is we're going to do some hand fighting, some pad work, or some gloved up sparring, and people think I'm mad. They're like, fuck no, that's crazy. Why would, like, that's, I'm like, well, it's the same as doing the cold thing. You're doing something uncomfortable on purpose, which is safe. Like the different cold therapy, the way people treat sparring, safe sparring when they've never done it before, would be like if I was doing cold dips with people that had never cold dipped before, and I fuck them over a bridge into a freezing river, and they just have to work out how to survive without letting the cold win or the torrent or just drowning. To me, it's the same idea. You're doing something you wouldn't normally do that makes you feel uncomfortable, probably a bit afraid, but you're doing it in a controlled environment, and you can ramp the cold up just as you can ramp the fighting up, and you can ramp it down as well if you need. So do hard things on purpose. the more you do, the stronger that will make you. A master the pain equals growth mindset. So instead of why is this happening to me, how is this making me stronger? Just a slight shift in the way you think about things that are going on in your life. When you do that, you're developing just a stronger reaction. So if you've been doing cold therapy and I haven't been doing cold therapy and both of us fall into a lake, you're probably going to react a lot better than I am. As long as you've been doing it right and you've been building up on it and actually enjoying doing it and not just doing it for social media likes, which a lot of people will do. But if we get in a fight and I've been more training with fight application and you haven't, then I'm probably going to react better in that situation than you. So do hard things controlled. So the 2 exercises that I want you to do this week are hardship stimulator. I was going to say simulator, and then a stimulator came out instead. I could have just went with that and pretended that the hardship stimulator was what I wanted, but it wasn't. It's the hardship simulator. So just do something. Do a cold shower, an ice bath, fasted training, or intentional rejection is always a fun one to do. Just put yourself in a situation where you're going to get rejected. So go and ask out somebody random on the street, or ask for a free coffee with the coffee bot. Just to see what it feels like, how you react, how your adrenaline and breath, and can you use all these tools that we've been teaching you? Can you use them in an environment like that? Can you prep yourself, go in, do it, come back out and feel like you benefited from it? So that's the first one. And then the mental reframe drill. So change your perception of adversity to use it as fuel. So think of a current situation you're facing, and then write down the worst way you could possibly perceive that challenge, that situation. And then write down the most powerful growth-oriented way to see the same situation. And then finally, every time the stress arises, read your reframe or memorize it so that you just know it, or have it on your screensaver on your phone or something like that. But this will help you change the way you look at obstacles and challenges within your life. So let me know how you get on with those 2 things. Tag me in any of your socials if you take any videos of you doing the hard thing, the cold shower, the sparring, the whatever it is. Go to your first jiu-jitsu class, wrestling class, something. Tag me, let me know how you get on with it. And until the next time, have a super awesome day, whatever you get up to. I'll speak to you again soon.